Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be looking at a devblog that came out today, and I apologise for the tardiness, but well, I had a bunch of other stuff to do today, so luckily it is all finished. We're looking at two separate devblogs, which may sound a little bit odd, but understand, something seems to have happened. So, the French side of War Thunder, when it comes to the website, normally sometimes is a little bit, let's say, edgy when it comes to posting. They're a little bit quick on the trigger finger. So what seems to have happened is they may have posted the wrong devblog. So if you want to see that devblog, we're going to talk about it after this one. So I'll leave a chapter so you can go to it if you want. But yeah, it's just kind of funny. So we have a new devblog on the Dagor engine 6.5. And with Dagor Engine 6.5, they're bringing in some new surface rendering. And to be quite honest with you, as you can see, the right one is the new one, the left one is the old one. You can see that there is a big difference when it comes to the general fidelity of it, even if there is no difference really with the trees, and they look really rough in the picture in comparison. You can see the different levels of brightness, which actually accentuates the much nicer areas and how clear the houses are at the back compared to like this, so it should be easier to see at slightly longer distances with tanks. So in one of the previous updates, the Dagor graphics engine, we transferred the War Thunder graphics physically based rendering. We talked in detail about the principles of material differentiation and the physical parameters that the Dagor engine deals with when rendering surfaces, as well as the principles of calculating the reflectivity of various surfaces within a complex physical model. So, when it comes to the complexity of it, now understand when it comes to this devblog, there's going to be a lot of reading, and the reason is they're pretty thorough nowadays when it comes to actually explaining this stuff. So if you're interested in the pictures, obviously just look at them. But at the same time, when it comes to the reading, there is some really important stuff. So I'll go for the reading and you can have a look at the pictures, I suppose. So when it comes to the actual devblog itself, it says, despite the complexity of the global illumination, and light reflection models, renders allows certain assumptions. In reality, natural soil surfaces feature a very heterogeneous ability to reflect and scatter light. Such surfaces are very textured, so direct light repeatedly reflected from the edges of soil particles continuously refracted and creating a myriad of microshadows is actually absorbed by them. On more reflective land surfaces, such as snow, sand, rocks, and gravel, light reflects and scatters in the same way, but in this case, a significant part of the direct light is reflected onto surrounding objects. Previously, the surfaces of the War Thunder game environment had the following properties: albedo, roughness, micronormality, metallicity, and the translucency. The translucency parameter was responsible for the partial absorption of direct sunlight in order to harmonize the parameters of materials for dynamic global illumination in real time and achieve realistic looking scenarios in shading, reflection, and the scattering of light. In the real world, it's the ability to reflect light for all dielectrics was considered constant at 4%, but to more accurately materialize surface properties, it is desirable to have such parameters as reflectance, which is the ability of the surface to reflect rather than scatter light, and visibility, a percentage of visible light taking into account the surrounding microsurface apart from the model's geometry. So the Dagor Engine 6.0 allowed us to introduce these parameters into the calculation model, but the details of the environment textures themselves were not in the game, both for technical reasons, so the client size, and because of the fact that many environmental textures were made on previous versions of the Dagor engine, so a little bit of an issue with updating, I suppose. As a result of this assumption, we were not able to reliably materialize the details of the textures from various surfaces. In addition, artifacts caused by the effect of the translucency map were sometimes observed. For example, an unnatural appearance of grass-covered hills when viewed against the sun, which is very true actually. In the Dagor engine version 6.5, we have moved to completely reliable reflections from the texture elements of various surfaces, and also introduce microshadows. These algorithms perfectly complement the displacement mapping technology that is used to create War Thunder locations, and at the same time we have updated the ambient occlusion for all types of surfaces in the game, due to which the appearance of the ground and objects of the game environment and locations has been notably improved. Each of the location's elements, from the smallest pebble to the huge rock, now reliably reflects light with the edges of its texture's surface and creates realistic shadows. These micro-reflections and micro-shadows interact with global illumination and the global illumination system and make War Thunder locations even more authentic. Together with the actual land surfaces and objects of the environment, the appearance of puddles, clods of dirt, traces of tracks on the ground, sand and snow have also been improved. So, as you can see, they are once again pushing forward when it comes to trying to improve not just the global illumination that War Thunder uses, but also just the general detail of the ground in front of you. This is a huge win when it comes to the game. It makes it look incredibly nice, and hopefully this can be realized when it comes to War Thunder itself. You can see the difference between both of these. It is insane, the difference, and hopefully this doesn't have too much of an effect when it comes to the good old processing of the game, so people's PCs won't need a massive significant upgrade for it. I'm hoping that all of that is completely fine, but, you know, we'll have to see when it comes to the dev server and all of that. Now, when it comes to the French one, the French actually managed to post the wrong devblog, so well done, Frenchies. And this time, it is about Dagor Engine 6.5, but it's about the client's UHD and also the NeuroNet. So this is about some different stuff, and you can see the difference here when you have a look at it. You can see the ground in the background. I've zoomed in on this. Understand that this article is in French, so I will post a link to it, and also thank you to Monet Ghost for sorting this out as well. Big ups to him. But you can see the difference in quality when it comes to the actual machine itself, the A2D. And there's a bunch of other pictures as well, such as this one here. And you can see the differences. So what I'll do is I'll go through what it says for you, and then we can talk about what this actually means for the game. So the latest models of vehicles and objects in War Thunder are created in 4K, or sometimes even 8K, but textures of this size significantly increase the size of the game client. In addition, the game has a large number of content with 2K textures. For example, some of the planes in which War Thunder began its journey in 2012. Over time, screen resolutions, hard drive sizes, and connection speeds increase, so we want to make the game more beautiful. We are introducing a Ultra HD texture pack, bringing higher resolution to War Thunder to match modern gaming standards. It's time for a change for the better, and we're hitting that milestone with the next game update. So they are bringing everything into the modern day when it comes to fidelity, which is pretty damn cool. And you can kind of see it in these pictures, with the right one being the new one and the left being the old. You can see the just tiny bits of additions which make it look super nice. The choice of game clients as well. This is quite a large factor. Now, by the way, before we get fully into this stuff, I want to make sure that you guys understand that this was posted by mistake, so there may be changes if it gets posted again, probably tomorrow. We'll have to see what goes on. But it says, in order to upgrade to new graphics with high resolution textures, we need to redo all textures in the game. 3 types of game clients will be available for players after the update is released. You'll have minimal, which is minimum size suitable for play at 720p, standard, with the same resolution you see in War Thunder currently, suitable for playing up to 1080p, and improved, which will bring the textures of tanks, planes, helicopters, and elements of the game environment to 4K, 8K resolutions, suitable for playing on Ultra HD, which is 1440 or 2160. Unfortunately, even players who want to use the minimal or standard client will need to download a substantial update with the release of the next update. So this is going to be a chunky update. It's not going to be a small one. It's going to be quite large because of obviously the stuff they're adding. And to be quite honest with you, War Thunder has been tiny in its size compared to many other games which are similar in at least competition to War Thunder. Like when I think of stuff like Call of Duty, it's over like 200 gigabytes now, and my War Thunder client is tiny compared to that. Players wishing to upgrade to UHD textures will be prompted to download additional content, which will be installed after the standard client. The same option to choose the quality of the textures will be available for owners of new generation consoles in a DLC. So for consoles of previous generations, the clients with high resolution textures will not be available due to the lack of memory on these consoles. So you'll be able to pick on the newer versions of consoles which version of quality you want to see. But understand, I don't think that means it's paid. I just think it's a choice that you have to flick on and off. There's also, you can see here with the wonderful A7, most of the textures of modern models of ships, tanks, and elements of the game environment do not require modifications to switch to ultra-high resolution formats. They were originally created in 4K and 8K formats and then compressed in order to save storage space. However, things are different for aircraft textures. The thing is, most of the aircraft textures in War Thunder were created in direct relation to the dimensions of the models, which means we don't have those files with the size needed for high quality display at high resolution. There was only one way out: redo all the textures for most of the planes in the game. It should have taken our artists many years to accomplish such a task. Even with the help from partner studios, a plane represents 2 to 3 textures. Gaijin programmers came to the rescue and created a neural network that learned to resize textures based on a complex analysis of the base image, and this network was precisely trained on the textures of War Thunder vehicles. The essence of this technology is that artificial intelligence analyzes image areas and individual pixels in them and completes the image with the new pixels. The resolution increases, thereby improving the quality of the final texture. Gaijin programmers came to the rescue and created the neural network that learned to resize textures based on a complex analysis of the base image, and the network was precisely trained on the textures of the War Thunder vehicles, as I said. The unfortunate thing is that seems to have been repeated a few times in the article, but you get the idea. The fact is, the neural net processed a bunch of textures of planes, helicopters, dashboards, and cockpit interiors, as well as elements of the map environments. The textures of buildings, rocks, sidewalks, and cobblestones, curbs, palisades, and many more. The artificial intelligence has done a great job. The quality of all textures in the game has been significantly improved without loss of detail, and we noticed only one aspect of the neural network algorithms in the processing of small technical inscriptions on aircraft fuselages. These marks for the ground crew were not readable before. After they were processed by the neural net, their shape became strange and similar to the Elvish of Tolkien's works. The neural network does not know any particular language. However, all of the inscriptions, markings, and other more or less significant decals on the chassis and fuselages of the vehicles remained perfectly legible, so we consider this completely acceptable. Correcting these inscriptions will require manual work, which we will carry out over the next few years. So basically, this won't be completely, this won't be completely sorted for a while, but the fact is, it's an AI, good old learning machine. I always love artificial intelligence, and it doesn't worry me at all how it works, but you know how it is. The fact is, it's making the game look better, and it's basically, it's much better to create a system to run a problem over and over and over again instead of having a human do it every single time, and that's basically what they're doing here. And then it also says, as a last tidbit, you will first experience War Thunder in ultra high quality with the next dev server session of the next major update. Scalable textures, new terrain rendering, as well as many improvements and fixes will be brought to the game by the graphics engine update. The Dagor engine, version 6.5, the Guardian development team is polishing it right now, so you can give it a try and let us know what you think. More devblogs regarding graphics, features of War Thunder Major Update are coming, and you better not miss them. So yeah, this is looking quite spicy when it comes to what's going on here. It looks like this update is looking absolutely massive. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Merciless Reaper, Jerry Provolt, Mega Dino King, Professor X1718, Orange Tail, Sakoshi Tiger, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, Moxie, B. Young, and Derek R., Barine, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.